Hi again, it's me, Jose, and this video will be trying to walk you through what your students will probably see if they're on a phone. For most of us, we're loath to use a phone when we're doing difficult things on the internet, but for a lot of these kids, this is all they have. And if you're not used to it, I really suggest that you log into some Zoom meetings, either practice sessions or real sessions on a phone, so you can just appreciate what these kids have to go through and not the difficulties, but the things that they have to do when they're dealing with it. When you're the teacher, you will immediately be the #1 tech help source for that particular meeting. And you need to be able to at least tell them where the buttons are, why they suddenly lost the image to the screen, and be able to tell them what the kanji is for that. Even though it's written in kanji and you're thinking, why can't they figure that out themselves? They're Japanese. Remember that when you're on the internet, especially when you're in front of a computer, your ability to think clearly and rationally is really, really hobbled by the fact that you're not used to looking at this kind of environment. So I made this so that we can see both the images, the screenshots that I took from my two phones, my iPhone 6 and my iPhone 5, which will explain why the images look different sometimes. And the Japanese, as much of the Japanese that I could take render readings for and translate for you. So why don't we begin? Okay, first, when a student starts up their phone, probably they'll get to something like this. Now, this is when they first tap on the Zoom application after they've downloaded it from Google Play or from the App Store. The first half doesn't seem to have been translated into Japanese, but the bottom half has, and this is read as meeting ni sanka, sign up or sign in. Now, if I were you, I would find some way to tell them you don't have to sign up, you don't have to sign in, you don't have to give your information to Zoom. That will take care of a lot of the security concerns that a lot of institutions have about kids using Zoom on their own because they're not giving their email address to the app. However, to download it, they have to give up their email address to the website. These kids are eventually going to have to give up at least one email address to Zoom to register on their website, and then they can download it onto their phone. And even when they download it only onto their phone, Zoom knows their email address from the phone, from Google Play, or from the iTunes App Store. So not many ways around it. However, on the app, you don't have to sign up on the app. You don't have to sign in on the app. You don't even have to hit that part that says meeting ni sanka. A lot of kids will get confused and they think, oh, I started it up. Oh, Mr. Cruz's class starts in 5 minutes. Oh, I guess that's where I begin. I'll hit this blue button here, meeting ni sanka. Tell them, don't touch any of that. Just wait at your phone, start up Zoom 5 minutes before the class, and wait. And when I invite you, you're going to see I'm going to skip that. You're going to see something like this. Okay? Oyobidashi-chu, this kanji up at the top here. Okay? If they are being invited by their teacher to come to class, basically, this is what they will see. The red button and the green button means decline the invitation, accept the invitation. To read them, you can see them over here. Okay? This one in red is jitai, which means to decline the invitation, and this one in green is read as shodaku, or to agree or to join that particular class. Okay? This is if you invite them. If you have them in a channel and you hit that channel, and it is really convenient for a teacher, if you've got all of your students' emails and they agreed for that, that email is the one that they use to sign up with Zoom. You can put them in a channel after they have accepted a friend request. They have to do two things. They have to accept a friend request from you, and they have to accept that they will be put into this channel. Just very quickly, a channel is very much like a group, like a line group or a Skype group. And if you organize your channels, then you can organize them by class. This is Wednesday morning first period. This is Thursday morning second period. All the students from Thursday morning second period are in that channel with one button. Bang, invitation goes out to them, and this is what they'll see. Just going back to that one picture before, this is what they'll see if they sign in on the phone. And a lot of this, I wouldn't worry about too much about this. If they are interested in hosting their own Zoom meetings, if they are interested in getting more into the application itself or to use it for chat, then by all means, go ahead. But I don't think you necessarily have to be their tech help with that. Tell them, well, if you want to learn more about Zoom, certainly go ahead. Zoom has all kinds of support pages, and you can read about it and learn about it. It's really good software, blah, 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 but I'm not going to help you. You only need to be able to help them during the meeting. So this is what they'll see when they'll sign in, and tell them, go ahead and play with your friends on Zoom. But after the invitation, whether they're invited or whether or not they just click, okay, and this is the other way that they can get to a meeting. And this might be my preferred way, is that I will provide them with a link. Now, in my case, I'm planning to do an asynchronous class, partly asynchronous class. The first 20 or 30 minutes with Zoom, I'll give the instructions for what they have to do, where they have to go, what YouTube video they have to watch, or what Facebook video they have to watch. And then the rest of the class time, the rest of that supposed 90 minutes, they go and do their work, and I spend the rest of my time for that class time talking one-on-one with students. I'll assign them a specific time. They'll be in the waiting room, and when I'm done with one, I go to the next one, and probably for the remaining time, I can probably chat with about, I don't know, 4, maybe 5 students. I figured maybe with a normal class size of about 25 students in a communication class, I can talk to each student one-on-one for about 5 minutes over the course of the semester, twice, maybe 3 times. Anyway, what they would do in my case when I send them a link is they'll just click on the link, and then they won't even have to go see that invitation button. They've invited themselves by clicking on that link. And they don't have to be signed in to click on that link. And as long as they're signed up, as long as Zoom has one of their email addresses, they will be able to use that email address to give it to you, so you can put it in to a channel, or you use that email so that then you send them the URL. When they click on that URL, the URL was given to them in Line, the URL was given to them in Facebook, in my case it'll be Facebook, or wherever else. That URL will talk to their computer or their phone's browser. The browser will talk to the app. The app will take the information from the URL and send them to the meeting. Really cool stuff, but it creates security problems that right now Zoom is kind of in trouble about. But I think with a bit of effort, they'll be able to get over all those security problems. But that's not what this video is about. So let's just keep going. When they get to the threshold of the meeting, it'll ask them, do you want to join with a video or join without a video? Do you always want to be asked this question at the very beginning? And this is what it looks like in Japanese. Now, in most cases, you don't actually have to tell them because this is pretty self-explanatory. But just in case you want to know that kanji, this kanji is sanka, right over here, sanka, which means to participate. Do you want to participate, or do you always want this dialog box to preview when you're about to participate in the meeting? So always, or always or constantly is this kanji, which is read as tsune, tsune ni, which means constantly or always. There. And then video sanka, video tsuki sanka means to join with video, and the other one is video nashi sanka, which obviously means to join without video. Next one, when they go in, the waiting room will be waiting for them, and they'll be waiting in the waiting room. This is what it'll say to them, in case you were wondering. This is going to be the name of the meeting, whatever the name is, but this is what they'll be told. Then, if they have to be asked at least once by the phone for the first time, would you allow Zoom to access your microphone? Would you allow Zoom to access your camera? And they have to okay that eventually if they're going to use either of those things. They could say no for both the microphone and the camera, but then all they'd be able to do is listen. And they wouldn't be able to answer, or if they say no here, they won't be able to say, Sensei, nani mo mienai yo, or I'm sorry, no, actually they can see you. Dare mo watashi no itteru koto wa kikoenai mitai yo, and they won't be able to say anything like that unless they say this. So this is pretty important. But again, this is not something that they will see before, they will only see this before they enter the first meeting. So you have to be kind of prepared, tell them that this is what you will see, and allow Zoom to use your microphone, allow Zoom to use your camera. You can even show them this video if you want. Now, when they first come in, this is what they'll see. And sorry about the face, it was early in the morning. But yeah, if I had to look at that face every day, I wouldn't want to go to school either. Now, once they're into the meeting, the first image that they'll see is this. The main image will be of the person who's speaking, which is me at my desk with my life poster behind me. And they'll see the array of controls. And you should get used to it too, because it's quite different from the array of controls that you have with desktop computers. The mute button is in the same place, the video button is basically in the same place, and the share button is still in the middle. But after that, it becomes very, very small, and the kanji for, what was it again? For exit, which is taishutsu, sorry, it's taishutsu is the kanji for exit. This one here, leave meeting or leave breakout rooms, is read as taishutsu. That is now in the upper right. Here's your audio controller for sound. And this is how it will appear when your camera has not yet started to broadcast you to the conference room. Okay? These will be read as, I think you'll be able to read mute, video no kaishi. Kaishi means open camera or begin camera. This is the share button if you intend to allow students to use sharing. It's Kyoyu. And there are some new buttons now for the newest version of Zoom, which will allow you to not allow students to share until you say you can share. It's much easier to control sharing, turn it on, turn it off during a meeting from the new version of Zoom. So I suggest you get the new version of Zoom. The new version was available at least when I woke up this morning. What is it now? It is Thursday, April 9th this morning. So if you haven't uploaded or if you haven't downloaded the new upgrade, please do so. This one says Sankasha, participants, and that's where you can see the participants list, see who's in the room with you. And this one is Shosai, which is relatively important, but we'll probably get to that a little bit later. That means details or settings for the other things that you can control while you're in the meeting. Remember that this is for the conference room. Now, if all they do is just sit there and listen to you, eventually those controls are going to go away so that you're less distracted by buttons which Zoom thinks that you don't want. But in my opinion, it's better to have those buttons on all the time. A student is asking, Mr. Cruz, how can I leave the meeting? And you tell them, well, just push the button that says Taishutsu. And they go, what button that says Taishutsu? Now, if they say that, tell them, okay, you have to tap the phone. You have to tap the phone so that then the controls will come up. But that's why I suggest to students that they should actually, in their settings, make it so that their controls are always on, so they can see where all the buttons are at all times, and they can be more aware of what it is that they can do. Okay, we'll show you that in a little bit. But there's also, take note of these down here where I can't put my cursor over it really well. It ends up becoming the Explore button. But on the Zoom conference window, you see a white button, a kind of gray button. That means that you can swipe. Swipe left, swipe right, made famous by Tinder. You can swipe and it'll go to other screens, which again, we'll see a little bit later. Now, the controls in English are there, and I already explained them, but they shouldn't be too hard. Once the camera is on, though, then they can turn it around. So if you can use either the front-facing camera, which is the default on Zoom, or you can turn it to the back so that then you can show things around you if you want to make my house as a topic of conversation. They can show that too. It's up to them. They just have to flip the camera around. Okay, and again, those are the controls. Now, what's different about this panel is that they have to make sure that their audio is on. Sometimes these kids forget to turn their audio on. The previous buttons were asking if they could access the microphone, but usually you enter a meeting with the microphone muted, so they have to turn the audio on. And it's hard the first time because you have to know that somebody doesn't have their audio on, but you've got 30 kids in the room. So you just keep telling everybody turn your audio on in the bottom left-hand corner. It says audio, looks like a pair of headphones with a green button in it. So when you know what it looks like, you can really describe it to them. It'll go much more quickly as opposed to just saying, turn on your mic. And they'll go, yeah, I want to, but how? Okay, just to go back, the Shosai button here, if you click that, you get into the other things that they can do during a meeting. And in English, I'll show you first. What you can do is if the room reactions are turned on, then you can either clap or you can raise your thumb, meaning that you agree or it's okay with you. They can chat, so here's your chat button. But if they chat, the entire window moves to the chat window. So they can read the chat and they can hear the audio, but they lose the cameras. They can go to meeting settings, which is a little bit confusing to do during a conference, so I don't suggest they do that. If they minimize the meeting, that means that they can still see their own image, but they can use the phone, but then they lose the screen. So I don't suggest they fart around too much with those things unless they know what they're really doing. There's a part there that says disconnect audio in case that there's a lot of noise in the background or they want to talk to somebody who's in the room or something like that. They can disconnect audio or they can mute. Disconnect audio, I think, though, also disconnects the speaker. So then they can't actually hear anything either. So let's continue from there. I think the next one, yeah. This is how it reads in Japanese. Chat is chat. I'm assuming you can read katakana. Meeting sette. Meeting no saishoka. Saishoka means to minimize. That's to make the meeting smaller so you can use the phone, other functions and other apps on the phone. And audio setsudan, I didn't get that kanji, but that's read as setsudan, which means disconnect audio. Be careful, I'm pretty sure that also disconnects your speaker. Okay, when you go into this one, meeting sette, there are a couple of important things here. I was talking before about making sure that the control bar was always on. That's it here. Meeting control wo tsune ni hyoji. Always show meeting control. So I would suggest they turn that on. In this case, on my phone when I was taking screenshots, it was still off on one of my other phones. I have two phones. And on this one, it's still off. And this one, I think, well, for girls or for some guys, it might be important. It reads, Gaiken o hosei suru. Now, Gaiken. Ah, wow, that's wrong. Okay, I'm going to change that right now. That should be Gaiken, and that means appearance. Gaiken means appearance, so the way you look, okay, so your basic appearance. And hosei means to fix or correct. So when this says Gaiken wo hosei suru, in English it translates to touch up appearance. So it makes your skin look a little bit better. It makes sure the color balance is best for your skin tone. Really nice. And jimaku, I don't really know how you would get. Jimaku means subtitles, closed captioning. So I don't really know how you would get closed captioning on that. I would have to look it up. I'm not really interested in that right now, to tell you the truth, in terms of what it is that closed captioning can do. Excuse me. I've been talking so much this past week, and I'm starting to get a bit of a sore throat, and that is not something you want right now. Okay, so let's keep going. If they minimize the meeting, that's what they're going to get. There's a little reminder that you're still in the middle of a meeting, so don't go start doing other stuff. That's that little green bar, and it says right here, Tachu shite tsuwa ni modoru. It's a standard button on, at least on iOS. It means that you're in the middle of a call or you're in the middle of something that's actually using your microphone. Touch here and you'll go back to that. So this is what they'll see if they minimize in the middle of a conference. Just to go back to things, this is what you'll see when those meeting controls are gone. And this, I was talking about swiping left and swiping right. So you have the default as the main conference window, speaker view. Now on the computer, we also have something called gallery view. So to go to gallery view, you would, if you can see me here, you would swipe right. You would swipe right on the phone so that then it'll go to the right. I could be wrong, swipe left, I'm not sure. I don't do a lot of swiping. But you swipe in one direction and it will take you to gallery view. And this is what gallery view looks like. Now, I don't know what gallery view looks like with any more than 4 people or 5 people on a phone. But I'm pretty sure that it only gets to a certain size, and after that you have to scroll up and down, just like it does on a computer image if it starts to get too small, because there's no point to a gallery where everyone's small anyway. And if you go back to the computer and then you swipe left, you go to the other side, you swipe to the left, then you have something called safe driving mode. And I assume this was put in as a feature into Zoom so that somebody could be driving and they can still at least listen to a conference without being distracted by the camera. And if they literally wanted to speak, they, I suppose, would have to pull over, tap to speak, and then they could speak. Now, I can imagine that if a kid is like swiping around and they get this, and they're not used to swiping, they're wondering, how did I get this? Because they didn't realize that it was the swipe of the finger. They meant to tap, but it was kind of a swipe to the computer. So this is what they'll see in Japanese. So if they say, sensei, sensei, if the kid disappeared, ask them, ねえ、今はある丸の中に会話するにタップと現れてない？じゃあそれをタップして、じゃあやっぱりタップしましたよね。会話するにタップして、今はね、話してますよね。そうですよ、先生。じゃあ、swipe して、swipe is the actual word in Japanese that they use. swipe して、そのメインのウィンドウに戻りますよ、と。Okay? You never know. Some kids, like, they might not even understand that that's what's happening. A couple of other things. This is the participants window. So if they want to see who's in the meeting with them, they can see it. Also, this is where they do things like raise hand. Okay. This is from the participants window at the bottom of the screen. Let me see if I can scroll here really quickly. And right there. That's the participants button. And if they tap that, they will go to, sorry, just go back to it. They'll go to this window, and this is what it looks like in English, very similar to what we see on computers. And in Japanese, this particular kanji is kyoshu. Kyoshu means raise hands, and the rest of these buttons, not really that important, I don't think, except for hi and ie, but you can read that, so that you can tell them, I want to take a survey, and hit the green hi button or the checkbox, check circle button for if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me. You can use it as a question thing. Pardon me. Okay, I also wanted to show you, and I was quite relieved when I saw this, on a phone, and this was taken off my iPhone 6. On a phone, if it's tilted back horizontally, my whiteboard, my Pages document as whiteboard idea works fairly well. It's fairly readable. You can't cut and paste because that's just a video image, but it seems pretty nice. Sorry, I'm still getting notifications on Facebook. Excuse me about that. And if they hold it up even, like, you know, the way you normally hold a phone, like this, it's still fairly visible. As a matter of fact, this way, the avatars don't get in the way, and this way, the avatars do get in the way a little bit. So keep that in mind when you're setting up the document margins for your whiteboard. Either way, it seems to work. So I'm glad again about my idea of using, when you do your share screen, that you use your word processing document as your whiteboard. Okay, if you're going to leave, if you're going to try to share, I have turned off sharing for my students until I allow it. And again, that's on the new version of Zoom. I would not suggest that you make participants able to share anytime that they want. If you were in the last Fukuoka JOLT meeting on Tuesday, you see what happens when somebody doesn't know what that share button will really do, and they just innocently share it, and you see all of these screens suddenly appear on the page. Michael Berg. And it can be a bit embarrassing. We were pretty lucky. It was just a bunch of files that we saw. I mean, could you imagine what might have been in that person's computer that we could have seen? So I turn off sharing for participants, and in the new version of Zoom, even though you might have that selected in the app settings, in the application settings, you can turn it on temporarily and turn it off whenever you want with the new security button, which I'm sure everybody will see at the new. Oh no, you won't, because you won't be the host. The next time you host a meeting, you will get a new button. I believe it will be to the left of the participants button. Don't remember right now, but it'll say security, And it'll be the last button before you get to the audio video controls on the extreme left. Take a look at it, play with it, and you'll see that that's where you can control sharing temporarily. You can allow sharing temporarily, you can stop sharing temporarily. Very nice feature. And it'll confirm with you that you really do want to leave the conference. 会議を退出. If you don't want to, then you made a mistake, then you just hit cancel. Otherwise, you just go straight through. Okay, to end with, I'm sure you're kind of sick of Zoom, so I'm going to show you a really cute picture of my cat. And again, if you have any questions, please, I'm going to just flip through all of this kanji here. There is that one page. Here is the last page, so that then you can have a reference at the very end of this video. Please remember that. Please use them. If you have any questions, please email me at jose@goldfish365, or if this is on social media, please comment below. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.